Imagine spending 50 grand for a standard 10 by 10 booth space in Frankfurt.
Oh, yeah, it's a massive investment.
Right. You fly your export team across the globe, put them up in these expensive hotels, and you spend like 8 hours a day on your feet on this brutal concrete exhibition floor.
Handing out thousands of those beautiful, glossy, highly expensive catalogs.
Exactly. And then, I mean, a month later, you realize your biggest potential deals were lost simply because your sales reps were, busy talking to someone else when the real buyer walked by.
It happens all the time.
It really does. So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is exploring a stack of B2B marketing playbooks, platform feature maps, and AI success guides that suggest a radical but incredibly practical fix to this exact scenario.
Yeah, the premise we are looking at today fundamentally redefines the physical materials you hand out. We're exploring the concept of the AI-ready exhibitor.
Which is such a cool concept.
It really is. It's this framework where your brochures, your sample boxes, and your business cards, they're no longer just static pieces of paper. They become active, intent-capturing data nodes.
Right.
And the core message across all these sources is simple but disruptive. Basically, your catalog can talk now.
Which is exactly what we're going to unpack for you today. Because if you are a sales manager or an exhibition marketer or part of an export team, you already know the fundamental flaw of the traditional trade show floor.
Oh, absolutely. The massive silent gap.
Yes, that gap between shaking someone's hand and actually closing a deal.
Yeah.
We set our best salespeople into the field, but the physical tools we give them, the catalogs, they're essentially mute.
Yeah. The brochure looks amazing, but the second a buyer takes it back to their hotel room and has a highly specific follow-up question, that brochure just stares blindly back at them.
Right. Okay. Let's unpack this a bit more. Why is that gap so fatal?
Well, to understand the magnitude of that gap, we really have to look at the psychology of the modern B2B buyer. Like, the trade show ends, but the buyer's questions continue.
Right.
There is a phrase in the playbooks we're analyzing that captures this perfectly. Quote, "Most trade show leads are lost in the questions no one answered."
Wow. Lost in the questions no one answered. That's powerful.
Yeah, and it's not just about the booth being too crowded either. The sources reference this concept called the Johari window framework to explain the dynamic, specifically the quadrant known as the hidden area or the facade.
Okay, let's define that for a moment for you listening. In the Johari window, the hidden area represents information that the buyer knows, but intentionally keeps hidden from the salesperson.
Exactly.
So they have a question in mind, but they actively choose not to ask it. Why would a warm lead do that?
Basically, fear of friction and fear of the aggressive follow-up.
Ah, right.
Yeah, B2B buyers are highly guarded. If they walk up to a sales rep and ask a basic question about, say, manufacturing tolerances, they know exactly what happens next.
They get their badge scanned.
Yep. They get put into a CRM. They get a phone call on Tuesday, an email on Thursday, and like a 6-month automated drip campaign.
Oh, it's the worst.
Right. Often, a buyer might feel it's just too early in their discovery phase to trigger that kind of avalanche. They don't want to be sold to yet. They just want a single piece of information.
Which puts the buyer in a really weird position. They want the technical specs, but they don't want to surrender their inbox to get them.
Exactly.
But I have to push back here for a second, because B2B buyers are also highly sophisticated. If they really need a piece of information to make a purchasing decision, won't they just, go to your website or draft an email to the general sales address?
You would think so, but you have to consider the reality of B2B friction.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, if that buyer has to hunt down a corporate website and navigate a complex drop-down menu, search for a specific product page, or even worse, draft a formal email just to find out if your company ships to their specific country, the friction is just too high.
Right, because they're exhausted.
Exactly. We are dealing with humans who are exhausted from walking the show floor all day. They're sitting in a convention center cafe with a stack of, 30 different catalogs from 30 different competitors.
Oh, so they'll just take the path of least resistance.
Yeah, they will simply move on to the competitor whose information is immediately accessible. So the objective of the AI-ready exhibitor is to answer the question in the exact millisecond the curiosity strikes.
Without requiring the buyer to jump through a single hoop.
Precisely.
Okay, I hear this.
Yeah.
But honestly, we have to talk about execution. Because a lot of companies have tried putting QR codes on their brochures for years.
Oh, yeah. The naked QR code.
Right. And the average buyer sees a generic QR code, assumes it's just going to download some massive 50-megabyte PDF to their phone, and completely ignores it. So how do you actually bridge the gap between a piece of paper and an active conversation?
That is the critical hurdle, and the playbooks address it through a really specific methodology. Let's look at the case study from the sources of a ceramic pan manufacturer called Ceranova. They didn't just slap a naked QR code on their catalog and hope for the best. They literally engineered the physical print material to drive engagement.
How so?
Well, when Ceranova built their system on the Relink AI platform, they approached it strategically. First, they fed their approved product summaries, technical specifications, and internal FAQs into the AI training module.
So they gave the AI strict boundaries. They didn't just point it at the open internet. They loaded it with their specific corporate brain.
Precisely. But the real strategic shift is in how they deployed the access points. They utilized a technique called source fingerprinting.
Source fingerprinting. Okay, what is that?
So rather than generating one generic QR code for the entire exhibition, they generated unique codes for every distinct physical asset.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They created one specific QR code tagged Trade Show Booth Catalog, another tagged COEX 2026 business card, and yet another for the actual sample box sitting on the display table.
Which allows them to track the origin of every single conversation.
Ex-
But wait, that still doesn't solve the engagement problem. How did Ceranova get the buyer sitting in that cafe to actually pull out their phone and scan the code in the first place?
They employed what the playbooks call the reason to scan. They eliminated the mystery entirely.
Oh, I see.
Right next to the QR code, they printed a clear, value-driven prompt. For example, it would say, scan to ask our AI about MOQ, lead times, and sample orders.
Nice. They explicitly told the buyer that this wasn't just a link to a website, it was a direct line to immediate answers.
Yes.
Let's pause and define MOQ for anyone newer to the manufacturing side, minimum order quantity. It is arguably the most common and, let's be honest, most repetitive question asked on any trade show floor.
Oh, by far. How many of these do I have to buy at once?
Exactly. So let's play out the buyer experience. The buyer is in the cafe, they see the prompt, they scan the catalog, and a chat interface instantly opens on their phone. They type, "What is your MOQ and lead time for the new ceramic pans?"
And the AI instantly queries the approved dataset Ceranova provided and responds contextually. Right. It might say, the minimum order quantity for a standard ceramic pan is 1,000 units per model. If you require custom color matching, we recommend a minimum of 2,000 units.
And the buyer doesn't have to wait for a human to finish their lunch break to get that clarity.
Nope. And then the conversation deepens organically. The buyer might then ask, can I order sample pans before committing to a bulk order? How long do custom samples take?
And the AI knows that too.
Yeah, the AI is trained to respond that basic samples of existing models are available immediately with shipping costs borne by the buyer, while custom color or logo printing samples typically require 15 to 30 days for production.
Think about the operational efficiency here. Your human sales team is freed from answering the exact same logistical questions 500 times a day.
It's massive.
If a buyer asks the AI for a digital English catalog link or for the specific distributor contact for the European region, the AI just hands over the exact asset. The human staff on the floor can dedicate their energy exclusively to high-value relationship building and, complex negotiations.
Great. Answering the buyer is incredibly efficient, but what's fascinating here is that it's only half of the equation.
What do you mean?
Well, the true return on investment, the reason an exhibitor justifies that $50,000 booth space we talked about, lies in what happens to the questions the buyer just asked.
Okay, so the buyer gets their answer and walks away happy. That's great for them. But how does this actually translate into actionable intelligence for the company? Where is the real ROI in just answering FAQs?
It lies entirely in the analytics dashboard. Traditional trade show metrics are largely vanity metrics.
Like how many badges did we scan or how many catalogs did we give away?
Exactly. That tells you absolutely nothing about intent. But the AI platform captures a map of buyer curiosity. Let's look at how the sources break down this intelligence. The first metric is top missing info.
Meaning, what are people asking that the AI doesn't actually know yet?
Exactly. Imagine 50 buyers scan your catalog and ask about the specific thermal tolerance of the ceramic pan coating. But that detail wasn't included in the original training data. Ah, so it's a blind spot.
Right. The system flags this as a knowledge gap. The marketing team can see this in real time, update the AI's knowledge base instantly via the Teach AI tab, and the 51st buyer gets the correct answer.
That is wild. You are essentially crowdsourcing your own marketing optimization based on real live buyer needs.
It is like looking at the wear patterns on the carpet of your booth.
Oh, I love that analogy. You don't have to send out a survey asking people where they walked. The data inherently shows you where the traffic got stuck or what they were specifically looking for.
And that wear pattern analogy applies perfectly to the source comparison data too, because Ceranova fingerprinted their QR codes, remember?
Right, the different codes for different physical items.
Yeah, so their dashboard reveals a literal heat map of intent. They can see that the QR code on the physical sample box generated highly technical questions about product usage and dishwasher safety.
Makes sense.
But meanwhile, the QR code on the sales rep's business card generated questions heavily skewed toward distributor pricing and tiered discounts, which tells the marketing team exactly how to design those materials for the next show. I mean, the business card needs to hint at partnership opportunities, while the sample box needs to highlight durability specs.
Exactly. You stop guessing.
But what about the deals that don't happen? How does this system help with the people who just quietly walk away?
That is where the purchase barriers metric becomes revolutionary.
Okay, tell me more.
The AI actually tracks the exact moment a buyer abandons the conversation. If the data shows that hundreds of buyers inquire about lead times, receive the answer of 90 days, and then immediately close the chat without asking for a sample, well, you have just isolated a massive silent sales barrier.
And without the AI, you would never know that. You would just assume the trade show was a bust.
Exactly.
But with this data, you aren't just tweaking a sales pitch. You are taking that insight back to the supply chain team and saying, hey, we are losing 20% of our European leads because our logistics are too slow. We need to warehouse closer to the buyer.
It completely transforms marketing data into operational strategy.
I have to play devil's advocate again, though. We're talking about an AI acting as a representative of a manufacturing firm.
Yeah.
Are we risking a massive hallucination here? What happens when a buyer tries to negotiate and the AI confidently offers a 50% discount or legally binds the company to an impossible delivery date?
That is a critical operational risk, for sure. And it is exactly why the architecture of these platforms relies on strict, programmable guardrails.
Okay, so they account for that.
Oh, definitely. The AI is not designed to be an autonomous closer. It is a discovery tool. It is trained to handle basic approved facts, specifications, standard logistics, minimum orders.
So how does it know when to stop? Like, when does it tap out?
This system is explicitly programmed with handoff protocols. The moment a prompt involves custom quoting, legal terms, exclusive regional rights, or complex price negotiations, the AI is triggered to stop acting as an oracle.
It shifts gears.
Right, it shifts into a routing function. It might say, custom volume pricing requires a specialized quote. Please connect with our European sales director here. And it provides a direct link or calendar booking option right inside the chat bubble.
That is brilliant. It filters out all the noise and passes the high-intent signal directly to the human experts.
It acts as a concierge, not the CEO.
I love that. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because we have to look at the geographical implications of this. This completely dismantles the physical limitations of the trade show hall.
Oh, completely.
The lights go off, the booths are dismantled and shipped back in crates.
Yeah.
But this digital intent channel, it remains wide open, and it scales globally in a way that physical teams simply cannot.
The multilingual contentabilities are where export manufacturers see an exponential advantage.
Let's map this out for the listener. You are a manufacturer based in the United States, exhibiting in Germany. You hand the exact same physical English catalog to a buyer from Tokyo and a buyer from Madrid.
Right.
They both fly home. 2 weeks later, sitting in their respective offices, they scan the fingerprinted QR code. The Japanese buyer types a highly technical question about materials in Japanese. The Spanish buyer asks about import tariffs in Spanish.
And this is where we have to distinguish between simple translation and actual intent processing.
That's the difference.
The AI doesn't just run their questions through a literal dictionary. It comprehends the intent in their native language, queries the core English knowledge base you provided, extracts the correct factual data, and then natively generates a highly accurate, culturally appropriate response back in Japanese and Spanish.
That is insane. You instantly project the infrastructure of a massive, global-ready enterprise without having to hire a dozen specialized translators to sit at your booth.
Exactly, or hoping your English-speaking reps can decipher a broken email 3 weeks later.
Right.
And to build on that, it completely redefines the concept of the post-show follow-up. Consider the standard CRM playbook after a major exhibition.
Oh, we all know it.
The sales team exports a spreadsheet of 1,000 scanned badges and sends out a generic mass email. Great meeting you at our booth. Attached is our corporate brochure. Let us know if you have questions.
Which is almost universally ignored or sent straight to the spam folder because it offers zero specific value to the buyer's actual pain points.
But when you integrate the AI conversational data, your CRM strategy becomes surgically precise.
Because you actually know what they want.
Yes. The sales team can access the keyword cloud and the individual journey data tied to specific QR sources. If a sales rep sees that the buyers who scan the VIP business cards were overwhelmingly asking the AI about, say, custom logo printing and branding options, they don't send a generic brochure.
They write an email that feels genuinely personalized, like, "Hi, it was great meeting you in Frankfurt. I noticed a strong interest from our European partners this year regarding custom logo printing, so I wanted to bypass the generic catalog and personally send you our custom design portfolio and pricing tiers."
Exactly. You are no longer initiating a cold outreach. You are seamlessly continuing a conversation the buyer already started.
That is such a massive difference.
Furthermore, this dynamic doesn't end when the email is sent. The playbooks highly recommend embedding the specific AI QR link directly into the sales representative's email signature.
Oh, wow. That is incredibly smart. Because the buying cycle in B2B can take, what, 6 to 12 months?
Easily. Even weeks after the exhibition, as the buyer is sitting in a procurement meeting reviewing your proposal alongside 5 competitors, a question might arise about your sustainability certifications.
And instead of pausing the meeting to draft an email to your rep and waiting a day for an answer,
They simply click the link in the email signature, ask the AI, get the instant verification, and the deal keeps moving forward without friction.
the momentum of the sale is never interrupted by administrative delays. Man, this is powerful. So let's synthesize all of this for you. The core takeaway from the marketing playbooks and platform strategies we've explored today is a fundamental shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Your physical marketing assets can talk. Every single question a buyer asks your materials is a vital, measurable piece of intelligence.
Absolutely.
By turning your brochures, your booth banners, your sample boxes, and your business cards into 247 conversational interfaces, you are achieving 2 massive goals simultaneously. You are freeing up your human staff to do what humans do best: build empathy, navigate complex negotiations, and close deals.
While the AI tirelessly handles the repetitive discovery phase.
Right. In any language, at any time of day, capturing the data you need to optimize your entire operation.
The era of relying on guesswork to determine your trade show return on investment is effectively over. You no longer have to debate in a boardroom what attendees thought of your booth or what product features they actually cared about.
You just let the data talk.
You simply let the buyer's questions dictate your strategy. Becoming an AI-ready exhibitor is a transition from broadcasting a silent message to facilitating an active, deeply measurable dialogue.
It really is a profound paradigm shift for anyone in B2B sales. And it leaves us with one final, somewhat provocative thought for you to ponder as we wrap up today.
Oh, I'm ready.
We've spent today focusing intensely on trade shows, catalogs, and exhibition strategies. But if a simple printed code can turn a static piece of paper into a dynamic, intent-capturing data node, what happens to your broader industry when every physical product package sitting on a warehouse shelf becomes a direct, two-way communication channel with the end user?
Wow, that's a huge question.
Right. How will that reshape the future of B2B and B2C relationships when the packaging itself is talking back, answering questions about recycling, reordering, or troubleshooting long after the product has left your control?
It changes everything.
Think about that silent, glossy paper brochure we talked about at the beginning of this deep dive. It doesn't have to be silent anymore. The conversation is already happening. It's just waiting for you to unlock it.